Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of Lesbian Talk, where neither of us went to Con Bravo. We went to other cons instead, cons that begin with B.
B.
And not B for Bravo.
Or C for... Your whole metaphor's starting to fall apart, just saying.
Yeah. Okay, so my thing's going to be longer than yours. So, where did you go, my love?
I actually went down to Baltimore to hang out with the very awesome Vera Gunn, who you might know as the head of the Nerdvice website.
Yep, and wife of Leon Thomas.
Dun dun dun. And because our respective partners were at conventions, we had BaltimoreCon.
Yeah, where you hung around and we're all like, yo, we're in Baltimore, The Wire, etc. Doo-doo.
We had an Asian Studies panel, which featured Takeaway from the Chinese place. And we had Geek Health Appreciation. I actually saw it for a few episodes of Attack on Titan, which I hadn't seen. So all in all, we hung out, did shit.
Well, I went to BroCon.
Oh, and we were also the most famous guests there. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yes. And I went to BroCon. It's my third year going. The first year I went, I wasn't a guest. I went basically to meet Noah, aka Spoonie. And they were like, holy crap, there's a Tigwitic person who's interested in our con and lives on the island of Ireland. This is much cheaper than getting someone from America. Hey, Hagan, will you be a guest? And I was like, okay, yes, I will. So I've been back the next 2 years.
So why is it called BroCon? Does everybody walk around with popped collars?
That I do not know. And I think they've only been running for like 4 or 5 years. So
it's like, hey, bro, nice convention, bro.
I don't think the name has quite fallen into the sands of time yet, so I suppose I could probably ask someone, but I do not know why it's called BroCon. It's not a BronyCon or anything like that. It's a generic. Well, I don't say generic, but it's lots of video games and lots of anime and panels and stuff. It's like MagFest, but much smaller.
So, how did it go?
Oh, it went fine.
Was it as hot as last year? Because remember last year you said it was really hot.
Oh, last year was incredibly hot. We were in the middle of a heat wave in Ireland, and we don't.
So was it what, like 70 degrees Fahrenheit?
More like 75.
Oh no! Beautiful California weather. Oh no!
Yeah, that's us not being used to it.
Oh, I'm so sad. I'm like gonna call UNICEF for all the poor children in Ireland. And I'm done.
But this year there were some issues. It wasn't their fault. It was the university's fault. Apparently there was this other thing going on at the same time, and the university's like, you know how you're having your convention, which you've done every year for like the last bunch of years? Well, there's another thing happening at the same time, so therefore you're going to lose half your facilities.
Also, they have more money, so there.
Yeah, and it was this like international wheelchair football tournament.
Oh, well that's kind of interesting, I guess.
It was interesting. It was just surreal. But because of this, they were in a different building than usual, which was far away, but the halls of residence where I was staying was in the same location. So literally I had to walk for 20 miles up and down hills and stuff and through back streets in the campus, because it's a big campus, to get to the con every day and back. And I had to like bring equipment and have stuff and carry bags and stuff. And it was like, it wasn't quite as fun as I'd hoped.
Oh, you were not minuless, correct? You had a helper.
Well, previous 2 years I had Nicola come, aka the After Decent Humour. This time it was Cork, but he was staying at the Travelodge, which is outside the campus, so we'd only really meet up with each other at the actual con. So I'd still have to carry everything up hills.
Oh.
But, it wasn't their fault. But, yeah, it was a fun con. The guest of honor was Paul St. Peter, who is an anime voice actor. Last year they had David Vincent, who does voices in Bleach and stuff. This one, ironically, Paul St. Peter, he did a voice in the English dub of Versus.
And you just reviewed that.
I did. And I had never heard...
You should have gotten a soundbite from him and then gone back and edited it back in.
I did not know that he did that until after I got back.
Oh, okay.
Because I have not seen the English dub of Versus.
Oh, you only have the original one?
Yeah, I've only got the Japanese one, so I was like, holy crap, that's amusing. And, so I did 2 panels. One is my Passion of the Christ review, where basically I took over the theater type room they had for 2 hours, and I explained how to do a movie review Tigwitic style, and I filmed a review, and I gave people the opportunity to suggest ways to act things, to make ad-libs, to make suggestions for how the episode itself will happen, and to cameo. And the biggest effect that one of the people in the con had on the review was the Mel Gibson's Alien, because I commented whenever I was filming it that I had this idea for a bit to do after I comment how the Passion, the bit where Jesus invents the dinner table, and how this is like someone...
Because he's a wacky, lighthearted savior. You know, for kids.
And it's as though someone told Mel Gibson that your film's really grim, so you need to lighten it up a bit, so Gibson just inserted random clips from its own parody into it. So I said I wanted to do something involving Star Wars and Spaceballs, but I couldn't think of clips to use. And this guy who was watching suggested using Alien and the bit from Spaceballs, and that ended up in the review.
I thought that was pretty fun.
The other panel I ended up doing this is the first time I've ever done it, and I really wish I'd recorded it. It was...
See, this is why you need me at your side always with a camera.
Yeah, that would have been really useful. This one was called 10 Movies That You Probably Haven't Heard Of. And it's basically me explaining, here's 10 movies that are fucking nuts. I'll talk about each one, and I'll show you like a trailer or whatever, and what a way to kill an hour.
So what were people's reactions, and which ones did you show them?
I showed...
Was it chirpy? Tell the truth.
Actually, I had a copy of Chirpy on me just in case the panel underran.
Because you should always have a copy of Chirpy on you just in case. Never leave home without it.
One of the audience was about 11.
Oh.
Which was hilarious. But I showed them stuff like Zsa Zaturna, Bitch Slap, Monster Man, Actium Maximus, War of the Alien Dinosaurs.
What? Actium Maximus, War of the Alien Dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Can we say the title one more time?
Actium Maximus, War of the Alien Dinosaurs.
That was one of my favorite parts of the Vegas and Space Crosser. You just kept saying it.
And then
Red House was like, what?
Action Maximo, War of the Somethings. That's going to be in my season 6 review.
Oh, good. Hey, speaking of which, some people that we know got picked up by that guy with the glasses.
This is true. Yeah.
And we should totally make a big deal out of it, because it is a big deal.
We should have opened with that.
We should have. Oh well, too late now. But so, because I'm too tired to edit. But no, congratulations. We have Count Jacula and Horror Guru, who are going to be tearing it up horror style. A lot of horror people got signed up. Fear Fan, who I have been a fan of his since 2011, because I think his stuff is really great. And
Foldable Human and Jill Barup and Rantasmo.
Now Tigwitig has more gay. Let's see who else. Some jerk with a camera. Our very own Tony Goldmark, whose music you may have heard here on Lesbian Talk. And he was actually, I think, our second episode on Tigwitig. He was part of that.
Him and Kyle, the MagFest episode.
And someone called Wielder of Dreams, who I don't know, but now I really want to check out their stuff.
Well, she linked a video on YouTube. Apparently she's only ever had one video put on YouTube, and it's her explaining what she's doing with her projects, because she hasn't actually got any of them finished yet, and giving clips about various shows she's doing. And she's clearly talented. I'm just honestly surprised that they picked someone up without any completed videos. But she's clearly talented, and it looks like she'll easily be able to handle what she's going to be doing for Tigwitig.
Yeah. So, good job, Wielder of Dreams. I'm sure you have a real name. I just don't know what it is. And
there's a couple of other ones that have been mentioned, but they haven't been announced yet, so I'm not saying anything in case my details are wrong.
Yeah, apparently there's, a quote-unquote, a secret one who doesn't want to reveal yet, so that's cool. But so for everyone else that might get picked up, good job. Well, even if you missed our taping today, and everybody that tried out, awesome. I mean, a lot of people said this, like Lewis said, I think Nash said it. Don't take being rejected as being like, oh no, it's the end of the world, because obviously you have the balls, or the uteri, in that case, to do stuff and put it on the internet. And I mean, that's one of the best things that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And RT Gomer. There's other sites. There are a lot of sites.
He's actually having auditions right now. So if you want to be a part of his site, Gomer is a great guy. But yeah, branch out.
I gotta say, under half of the people that I was personally rooting for got picked up. And, I'm happy for the ones who did. I'm sad for the ones who didn't. Regardless of who they picked, there's always going to be people who were talented who were not picked up. And it's really, really sad.
Yeah. But the good news is that, I mean, a lot of people have said, well, you know what, this just makes me even more determined to do something great. And there's nothing like being told no to make you want to work harder to get it to yes. I mean, that's what I found with writing anyway, so. But anyway, back to BroCon, already in progress.
Yeah, BroCon it's a fun con. So I did that panel, and that was great fun. And then, that was the second day. Well, sorry, my third day. I got my bus soon after that. But on the second day,
you rested?
there was...
Ba-da-bunch.
I wish. What happened then was, it was like, we got a passion review, da-da-da-da-da. Then I have to sit in the dealer's hall and sell some plushies. And then they're all like, hey, we got the celebrity game of Cards Against Humanity, Hagan. You taking part in it? Of course. And I'm like, okay, they're going to stream that on the internet. I gotta, like, keep my makeup on because I don't want to, you know, not be in character. So, but then it got delayed and delayed and delayed because of problems, nothing to do with them. And, so I ended up spending the entire day sitting there in makeup with my face slowly going like, oh no, we don't like this. I'll make up all the time. Grah! Which was fun. They had some really good cosplay in their cosplay parade.
Ooh, what'd you see?
They had, okay, my personal favorite is a human gender swapped version of Chucky.
Chucky the doll from...
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really, really cool. They had some really, really badass ones. So a lot of them are characters I have no idea who they were, but just a good random selection of stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And now, some of the people that, okay, I have like friends of mine who I meet only at BroCon, so I spent a big chunk of time hanging out with them. I believe at one point I spent 5 or 6 hours just talking about Doctor Who randomly.
5 or 6 hours? I'm shocked. It wasn't 10 or 12 hours? You could have gone on for much longer.
This is true. I was grabbed to do an interview by this guy, Keith Slattery, who appears in the Passion Review, because he does an internet radio show early in the morning, and he wanted a short interview he could edit down to put onto the show. And, you know, he was anticipating between 5 and 10 minutes. Of course, when he asks me about Doctor Who, you know, I'm still talking 56 minutes later.
This is such a true story, you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, you do have some idea who listened to our podcast.
Yeah, so it's just like, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who. But yeah, it's a fun con. If you're in the Republic of Ireland, you know, this is in Limerick. You know, for me, it's about 4 hours to Dublin and then between 2 and 3.5 hours to
It confuses me
Limerick.
because, no offense or nothing, your island is, like, smaller than Pennsylvania.
It's true, but I gotta go like at a diagonal angle away from Limerick and then across Ireland to Limerick. And there's not that many highways in Ireland.
It's true, there's just like the one that goes through the mountains.
And that's about it. So
But
it's
a startling vista of natural beauty.
It is outstanding!
Oh, sorry, outstanding. No, seriously, you guys, along the highway that goes between Dublin and Belfast, you go through these mountains, and they're pretty mountains. They're, like, dotted with sheep, because the sheep are about, and stuff. But, like, so, every so often, there's these, like, government signs that say, you are entering the Sperrins. They are an outstanding, what is it? How does it go?
These are an outstanding area of natural beauty.
Exactly.
Sounds very fascist.
Very utilitarian. You will appreciate the scenery. You will stop and take a picture, perhaps a selfie. Then you will tag it with, oh my god, the scenery. I don't know why there are Nazi Ireland people, but there are now.
It makes sense.
And I was a believer. But don't go to Dungiven. Because Dungiven...
What's wrong with Dungiven? It's just a small place.
Dungiven is a town, and it's a nice town, and they have a castle. However, Hagan and my father-in-law are super snotty. Like, well, it's not a proper castle. And they're going to give the town of Dungiven a complex.
It's a manor house.
If they want to call it a castle, they can call it a castle.
Well, that's fine.
What's going to happen? Is the queen going to come and tell them no?
They can call it a castle if they want, but at the same time, I'm going to call you a car.
But, honey, it's a big structure made of stones. It is a castle.
You might as well throw away the definition of castle.
Well, it's just, I mean, okay, well, here's the thing, though. So when you get a Lego set with the gray blocks and stuff like that, you call it a castle set, or do you call it gray Lego house set?
It depends if you're making a Lego representation of a castle or not.
It's just the generic castle set that was back in, the 80s when they just let you build whatever you liked.
Well, these guys, they have a manor house, but they're calling it a castle. It's like the Smithsonian castle. It's not a castle.
It is so. I'm going to make up t-shirts that say, I support Dungiven Castle.
Well, you can if you want. I actually went to college with some people who came from Dungiven.
And see?
What?
Were you snotty with them after the room? Oh, they come from Dungiven. They think they have a castle. Ooh.
No, we got on well.
I come from Derry. We've got a wall.
We do have a wall, although Derry likes to claim that it's an unbroken wall, even though the wall kind of goes underneath the ground in order to let one of the roads pass.
Yeah, I was like, we totally broke the walls when we walked through.
It's totally I'm
gonna start a Facebook group. Save Dungiven Castle.
It's a decent tourist attraction for them. But Derry Wall's like, yeah, our wall is, take our word for it, our wall is completely unbroken, it's just under the ground.
Yeah, but there's also parts where they used to be underwater, too.
This is true, yeah. Yeah, BroCon, it is a good smaller con. Now, in roughly the same area down Galway, there is Akuma Con, who expressed interest in having me come in January, because one of their people saw my 10 weird movies panel, and they liked it so much they want me to do it again there. Now, what I'll do is I'll cut out some of the movies, replace them with other ones. I'll probably cut out Monster Man. I got less to say about that. A couple of them, replace them with ones. I'm going to put Manborg in there, I think.
Manborg! But Manborg is awesome.
That. I know. I wasn't choosing the films because they were bad. I was choosing them because they're interesting.
Okay, fair enough.
And that panel, that was the most I'd ever seen in a panel that I had anything to do with. Because,
well, because a whole shit ton of people come to your panels at MagFest.
Well, other people. It's, whenever Spoonie was there, he got about 20 people at his panels. Because it's not a big con. Most people are interested in playing games, looking at the dealer's stuff, or whatever. Whenever I did my Sunset Heights one, which was my last year's review panel, that ended up with about 12 to 15 people. And then my question and answer type panel was about the same. This year, the Passion was a little bit more than Sunset Heights, but this was like 30 people.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, for a small con with not that many people, that was really good. I greatly enjoyed it.
So here's the question. Are you going to go next year?
If I can, and I'm going to drag you along with me.
Whee!
And
Can I cosplay as a bro?
You can if you want.
You never want to be like, oh my gosh, how are you? I'm like, cool story, bro.
You got the right shirt for it.
I do like polo shirts.
And
I wear them for like lesbian style, not for bro style.
And a little bit of an interesting little factoid. We came sort of a little bit close to having a Nostalgia Critic over at BroCon.
Oh yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, because he apparently really wants to go to a con in Ireland because, well, I guess he's American, so therefore it's like contractual obligation to be interested in Ireland.
Right.
And he was like, wait a sec, what's the name of that con that Spoonie went to, that Hagan goes to? And it turns out that BroCon was the same day as another con he was going to, so he couldn't go. But I suppose it's feasible, because I put him in contact with BroCon, that he'll be there next year.
That's pretty cool.
I've
never actually met Doug. I'd be like,
neither have I.
I've heard much about you.
Yeah, I've never met him either, so
oh, that's
it would
true.
be interesting.
Because I forget that cameos happen through the magic of cameras.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to going to Con Bravo next year. I know we say this every year. Like, yeah, next year we're totally going, and that never happens. But
Yeah, unless we explode or something.
We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, because people have been asking me already, and MagFest is looking like 85% no, just because.
Oh, more than 85% no. Definitely not MagFest.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to go, but the problem is that my first day of the winter term, or the spring term, is, I think, the last day at MagFest, because I think it's going, instead of Thursday to Sunday, it's going Friday to Monday.
Yeah, there's no way in hell we're going.
Don't say, because you never know what could happen. I mean, it would have to be a pretty big thing, because we'd have to spend the money for the flights for both of us and a room, so.
Yeah, unless someone actually deliberately pays for us.
Unless someone wants to Skype us into the entire convention.
Yeah, plus, the Akuma Con is about a week before MagFest, so that's going to be our replacement January con, probably.
Yeah.
So, it's like flying a transatlantically. It's like 4 hours to Dublin and then like 2 hours to Galway.
Yeah, that's like a lot, but it's okay, because what you guys don't understand is, so for Hagan to come over here, or for me to come home, basically I have to get up at 3:30 in the morning?
Yeah, the bus leaves at about 4:30.
But no, see, that's the other thing. Get up, get dressed and everything like that, then get a taxi, which doesn't actually cost that, it costs a few pounds, into the city to wait for the bus. The bus comes at 4:30, and it stops at a random.
I'm always there like half an hour early.
Well, it's still smart. It stops at a random filling station somewhere in the Republic, so of course you've got to have yours if you want a snack. And then you, usually around 8 or 8:30, you get to the airport, So then you go and you check in. But here's the thing. Because Dublin Airport has this weird but sexy kind of relationship with the U.S., the U.S. flights, you cross customs before you actually enter the country. You cross U.S. customs while you're still in Ireland.
Yeah.
So basically, they give you like 20 minutes to get through security and get through the airport to cross customs, which means that, no treats for you, no stopping and having breakfast. You just got to book it through the airport.
Which I find really useful because
I do not find useful at all.
It's useful whenever you are going to have a bad time in American customs. No, not a bad time if you're a foreigner, because they're nicer on the Irish side for some reason.
Yeah, this is true. They are a lot nicer.
And you don't have to deal with it once you're in America. Once you land in America, you just walk straight through.
Well, I'm a citizen. It doesn't matter for me anyway. But the thing is, so you've already gone through security mines. You go through customs, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm coming home. They're like, all right, have fun. Then you have to go through security again with the TSA, because apparently the Irish don't do it good enough. So then you have a few hours at your gate, and it's only the gates that go to America. And there's like a kiosk with a girl that sells like sodas and pastries, and then there's a coffee shop, and that's it.
And there's also the place that sells some alcohol.
Oh, I never get stuff at the Judy because it's too much of a hassle. But then I don't give a shit and I'm angry.
But you got that
saying.
And then you've got the 7-hour flight.
Right. And once, like, we had to queue up to get on the plane. So we queue up and, you show your boarding pass and your passport. You're like, all right, cool. And then we were, like, stuck in this hallway. Again, we could see the plane from where we were. They checked your passport again and said, has anyone touched your bags? Now, one of the guys who was doing this was Eastern European of some kind, but his accent wasn't very strong. I mean, it was hardly noticeable. And I think I must talk about this in the show back when it happened, but so these elderly people in front of me were flying back. I think they had a connection in Philly and they were going to New York. So then the guy calls over one of the desk employees who had been like at the beginning of the hallway and flipped his shit because the guy checking our passports in a foreign country was not a native English speaker. And again, you really he had just a very faint Eastern European accent. So it sounded like he was from, some Eastern European country, but he'd been in Dublin for at least a long time. And the woman was like, yeah. And he's like, that's just wrong because you should have people speaking English here. And she goes, oh, yes, of course. Of course, sir, she says in her Irish accent, looking at this guy like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Didn't they realize that Ireland's a bilingual country? I
don't think that they realized that. Because, yeah, all the signs are in English, and then below it in italics are in Gaelic.
Yeah, I could be wrong about this. I think Irish might actually be the official language of Ireland.
Well, yeah, because when I was visiting Dublin the first time, and I took the Lewis train, they'll say, next stop is this thing, and then, whatever, I can't even...
Sounds backwards.
Yeah, so, but yeah.
But yeah, you get all the delights of an early morning bus and, hours and hours and hours traveling, and you end up in the same island. It's wonderful.
I don't mind that. Well, because I'm from America, so I can get in the car in the morning, drive all day, and only make it to Ohio, so.
Yeah, well, we're like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, one time we were going out to visit my best friend, and she lives when I lived in Maryland, about 40 minutes away, and Hagan was all like, oh no, well, we have to pack snacks, and will there be a rest stop? I was like, it's 40 minutes.
We don't drive that much in the UK. You choose a direction in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, you drive 45 minutes. One direction, you end up in a foreign country and then the ocean. Another direction, you end up in the ocean. Another direction, you end up in the ocean. Another direction, you keep driving. And you're still in a foreign country.
Well, of course, because you're an island.
I know. But this is why we have a different mindset when it comes to driving.
I guess. But anyway, so that was that. So, closing thoughts on BroCon?
BroCon is a good small con. Apparently, they're getting more numbers every year, so I'm glad about that. And I really hope that they have me back again next year. It's full of delightful people. And if you're listening to this, go to BroCon. It's fun.
Yeah, go to Ireland. You totally should.
Plus next year, hopefully you'll have Omega there as well.
Ba-doo. So now it's time for that part of the show that I know everyone likes, and I kind of do, One Time at the Store. So if this is the first time that you've ever listened to Lesbian Talk, I have spent the past nearly 10.5 years working at a large chain bookstore. I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it all, and this is one of those stories. So this is gonna go way back in the archives. So come back with me to 2004, I think it must have been. Yeah, late 2004. So if you were too young to be paying attention then, George W. Bush was running against John Kerry for the presidency of the United States. And there was this group that put out this book, which actually later ended up being totally debunked as being fraud, by the Swift Boat Veterans of Justice that said, yeah, well, John Kerry fought honorably in the Vietnam War and stuff like that, but we think he didn't fight hard enough, and we're veterans, so yeah. So they wrote this book. And the book was a bestseller for like a week or two, and then it immediately went bargain because no one cared anymore. So I was at cash register, and I was the only one up there. It was a Saturday afternoon. It was a slow kind of day. And this young woman approaches the cash register, and she looked like she was in her mid to late 20s, and she had like several children with her, so obviously more children than belonged to her. It looked like, she had 2 kids, and then she had 2 other kids and stuff like that. So this poor woman has a whole handful of books. So I was like, oh, ma'am, I can help you here. I'm open. My register's open. And she goes, oh, great. But before she can come around the corner, then this mean old lady, runs in front of her and goes, I just have one item, so I should get to go first. And I was like, ma'am, there is a line. And this young mother looks at me with the patience of a saint and said, no, it's fine. You can let her go ahead of me. And I was like, how can I help you? So she's buying the Swift Boat Veterans for Justice book. And so I said, oh, do you have a member card? She's like, no, I don't do that. Things. And she's just being a total bitch about it. And so she goes, have you read this book? It's really important. I already have a copy, but I'm getting one for everyone I know. And I was like, no, ma'am, I haven't read it. She goes, well, who are you voting for? And we have a policy at my company that whatever religious or political beliefs that you hold, they're really not for talking about when you're clocked in. Like, if you want to talk in the break room about stuff, that's fine. But really, as far as customers are concerned, we don't have religion, we don't have politics. We're just there to do our jobs. So I didn't want to get into it with her, and I said, well, ma'am, I really haven't decided yet. I think that I want to learn more about all of the candidates to see who I should vote for. I don't want to waste my vote, after all. And she goes, well, you should vote for George W. Bush because he's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, your receipt's in the bag. Have a great day. Okay, bye. So then the young mother steps up and herds her children over, and she puts all the books down on the thing. I start ringing her up, but the old lady hasn't moved. She's still standing in front of my register. She goes to the woman, you should read this book too. And this woman turns to her, this young woman does. The best look on her face. She said, no, I'm not going to, because George W. Bush is full of shit. Oh my God. You could see all the veins just pulsating on this woman's forehead. She got so pissed. She's like, how dare you say that? He's our president. I thought I was going to have to call a manager. It looked like it was going to come down to a knockdown, drag-out fight, but it didn't. But I was rooting for the young woman. I totally wanted her to beat up that granny. And that's my story.
And it was a fine story.
Oh, yes it was. But what did we watch this week?
What did we watch? We watched Dalek.
Dun, 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 which is on Netflix. So you could have watched along with us.
Although I didn't watch on Netflix, I had a copy of it.
Oh, well, you already did, but I watched on Netflix, so there you go.
Yes. This is going to end up in my eventual, episodes of New Who that aren't shit video. Because Dalek is good, although it's not as good as Jubilee, the Big Finish audio that it was a adaptation of.
Yeah, seriously, if you're able to get a copy of that, and I think that there was some Big Finish stuff that's been on sale this week, seriously, go check it out. It's an amazing audio drama. It's really great. And it inspired this episode.
And same writer and everything.
So let's synopsize, because we always forget to do that.
Okay, it is the far future day of 2012.
The future?
Yes, everyone's in yellow jumpsuits.
The future is 2 years ago. Oh, sorry.
And they're in Utah, in the desert, sort of underground, and this rich guy is like, I'm evil and American, and so I collect aliens, and he has a Dalek.
Literally, from the first second you see him, I thought to myself, oh, because I did see this episode a few months ago, where I thought, oh, I can't wait for him to get exterminated. I was so looking forward to that.
And he didn't.
But here's what I wanted to know, because you do have a lot of Americans. Were these actually American actors, or again, just American portrayals by British actors?
I believe the main guy, Henry Van Staten, he was played by an American.
I
believe everyone else was British.
We need someone reprehensible enough. We'll have to get a real American.
I think everyone else was either British or Australian or something playing American.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so pretty much the TARDIS ends up in this bunker because the doctor got a distress signal. And they find this guy who is the richest man ever. It's kind of like one of those shadow conspiracy guys. He quote-unquote owns the internet. He just makes all this money off of patents and stuff like that. Which the doctor finds out. He basically collects alien tech, puts his R&D guys onto it, and then creates patents and makes $1 million. So he has a Dalek that crashed to Earth in the 50s, and it's been changing hands, and it's finally his. And this Dalek is long crazy. It fell through time as a victim of the Time War. It was on fire for 3 days after it fell. So yeah, so basically, he's trying to cut into the Dalek and torture it to see what's going on. And the Doctor's like, that's cool, I'm an alien. And so this guy's like, aha, an alien. I'll collect you, too. So he puts the Doctor in the cage with the Dalek, doesn't tell the Doctor the Dalek's there until he turns on the light, and, the Doctor's like, don't worry, I can help you, I'm the Doctor. And the Dalek looks like, the Doctor? And he's like, oh, fuck. So, yeah. So then, for some reason that's not clear to me, there's this British guy who's kind of R&D, but he's kind of a personal assistant. And he's trying to hit on Rose because he's British too. And he's like, I could totally take you to see the creature, but I'm just saying, babe. And she's like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So they go and they talk to the Dalek because Rose doesn't know what one is. And she touches it and it absorbs her DNA. And shit gets real.
Yeah, the Dalek sort of comes to life and starts killing everyone.
Just really, like no one thought would happen.
And it's a perfect example of how, in New Who especially...
Nobody ever believes the Doctor?
No, it's the single monster that's powerful is so much easier to efficiently portray on screen than a bunch of them. You have one Dalek, kills a bunch of people, the threat is palpable. You get 1 million Daleks, they end up killing about one person each at most, and so therefore it's just, they, to the audience's mind, are less powerful.
I guess I can see that. But it's really great where they, like, flee up some fire stairs, and they're like, aha! You can't get upstairs, and it goes, elevate! And gains rocket boosters.
Yeah, clearly they had never seen Remembrance of the Daleks or Revelation of the Daleks.
That would be too meta. And so eventually the young guy ends up coming with them to, spoiler alert, wash out as a companion in the very next episode, which is good because I didn't like him much.
He was, the next episode, The Long Game, was originally a script that Russell T Davies had written down, at least part of. He'd either synopsized or written a first draft in the early 80s when he was really, really young, which written for the Fourth Doctor, Romana, and Adric. So you got Doctor, Rose, Adam.
Yeah, but he wasn't obnoxious. Like, he wasn't like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm just saying. He's like, I'm just kind of modern. I'm just saying. Although there was he's like, don't worry, I'll fight my way out. And the Doctor's like, what you gonna do? Throw your A levels at him? And I'm like, I get that joke.
Yeah, but in the Long Game, basically, Adam reacts to the future like a complete idiot, starts stealing information and everything, and the Doctor leaves him with like a surgical thing in his head and all. But if you watch The Long Game, it's not noticeable in Dalek, but because it's written by a different writer, this is Rob Shearman. If you watch The Long Game, you can tell Adam was originally Adric.
Which would have been nice, because we all hate Adric so much.
The singular Dalek for a bunch of people, it worked well, as you'd expect it would, because that's so much easier to do.
Well, here's also the thing that I was thinking about while I was watching this episode, because I know that you're not the biggest fan of the Ninth Doctor. I think he's alright, but whatever. But here's the thing. He did, I think, a better job of portraying, the last survivor of the Time War better than 10 or 11. With the exception of the Rings of Akhenaten. I think he did a good job there, but...
He was doing well at being angry at the dustbin.
No, but he conveyed emotion.
Yeah, he did. Eccleston is a good actor. I just don't think he's the Doctor.
No, that's fine. I thought it was good. And then when he thought that Rose was dead, he was like, "Oh shit!" So with the exception of Adric, the Doctor's never really lost another long-term companion to death, has he?
In the books, yes, and the audios and stuff. But in the TV, he's only ever lost to death. Katarina, who lasted for 4 episodes, Sarah Kingdom, who lasted for about 6, I think, and Adric. So
it's been a while. It's been a few generations now.
Yeah. Although in Real Time, which is one of the 6th Doctor audios, something nasty happens to Evelyn Smythe.
Oh no.
However, the nasty thing that happens to Evelyn Smythe, they have had to retcon this into an alternate reality version of her because it doesn't fit actually what happens in the rest of the stories.
Good, I like her. She's awesome. If you don't know, in Big Finish, they have license to do pretty much whatever they want, so there's a lot of new companions, and Evelyn Smythe, she's really awesome. She's older, so she kind of mellows out the 6th Doctor a lot better, and she's a historian, so she's like, I want to go and see history, and the Doctor's like, alright.
Yeah, They have a couple of constraints on Big Finish. They're not allowed to talk about stuff that originates in the new series.
Yeah, so they can't do the Time War. Although apparently, according to Nash, the stuff with the Eighth Doctor comes right up to just all but saying.
Yeah, as long as they don't identify it as such.
Yeah.
Plus, they're not allowed. Plus, the BBC get to look at whatever they're doing and basically can veto anything as like.
They're not going to do stuff like porn or anything that's like very uncharacteristic, I would guess.
Oh, no, I meant like, for instance, if Big Finish wants to do something crazy involving, say, the Draconians, and then the new series has plans for the Draconians, which might be negatively affected, then they can veto that and say, you have to do that with a different race.
Oh, okay.
The TV show always takes precedence over Big Finish.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's pretty cool of the BBC to extend that licensing, you know?
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time, I think, until, Eccleston and Tennant, at least, end up in Big Finish.
Well, funny, everything in Doctor Who is just a matter of time.
But the Dalek, originally they weren't sure if they were going to get the rights to the Daleks from Terry Nation's estate.
Oh, right, yeah.
So there were several drafts of the script that went around where the monster was not a Dalek. It was a Toclophane.
It was a taco?
No,
Toclophane. I love tacos. Have you told Phil Regato about this? Crossover.
You obviously have never seen Last of the Time Lords.
Tacos.
For anyone who doesn't remember, the Toclophane are humans from the very end of time who have come back in time after having sort of turned themselves into robot cybernetic floating orbs that want to kill things and want to kill their ancestors.
Yeah, but guacamole still costs an extra 50 cents.
Yes. So, in this alternate version, the Toclophane, which was created by Russell T Davies for this as a backup, was going to be the Dalek and then go off and kill things and, kill itself at the end like happens in the story. But then they got the rights. They're like, okay, we'll use the Dalek. And then Russell held on to the Toclophane and used it at the end of the season 3.
Taco!
Toclophane!
I was just going to keep saying that forever.
The single Dalek, it's like the single Cyberman, in the Pandorica Opens. It's so much easier to do them as a single threat than if you do them as a big army. Big armies just they're faintly ridiculous. And
tell that to every war ever.
Big army of monsters in Doctor Who, I mean.
Okay. See, now you know how it feels when you pick on me over semantics.
I know. You completely destroy me.
Sins, I win.
I would love to see another one like this, a single monster, but I want to see a return of the Raston warrior robot from the 5 Doctors.
I want the Rani to come back, because Rani be skulking.
Unfortunately, Kay Tamara died.
Yes, well, she could have, that's unfortunate about the actor, but the Rani could have regenerated.
Hello. Oh, she did on Big Finish.
Well, that's perfect!
They were in pre-production for a new Rani story when she died.
So, Stephen Moffat, give us a call. We totally want to see the Rani, so just let us know about that. Yeah,
the new Rani is Siobhan Redmond. She's Scottish. She's in her, I believe, late 50s, and she's red-haired.
Yes! You already have her, so you can have her on. That would be great. It would be the best.
She was in a sitcom with Alan Cumming called The High Life. You
were telling me about that.
Yeah, the really camp Scottish sitcom set in a plane, where they're like, we're like the flight crew in a plane, stewardesses, stewards.
Who he was telling me about this was your dad. When we were driving somewhere, I remember he was like, you should watch the show, and I was like, I totally will, except for it's not on Netflix.
I'll try, I can rip it for you if you want. I have it on DVD.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, really young Alan Cumming being very, very camp. And it's got one of the best creations in The High Life is, I can't remember his name, the actor, but the character's called Captain Duff. And he's just the pilot, and he's insane, like doing random things like forgetting what country he throws in, and forgetting his name, and being convinced that the other characters are getting, the 2 male stewards are getting married. This was done in the early-ish 90s.
That sounds awesome.
So, see, the main characters, you got Alan Cumming and Forbes Mason are the 2 male stewards, and they're both very camp. One is possibly gay, one is definitely straight. Then you've got Siobhan Redmond, who plays Shona, the sort of the head stewardess, who is really, really, really cold, icy, sort of Scottish bitch.
She's cold as ice. Sorry.
Yes. And now she's the Rani. And then you've got the captain, who's insane, who plays the crazy doctor in Mind Warp and Trial of a Time Lord, the one that messes around with Perry's brain.
Oh, right.
Him.
Well, there you go. So, I think the moral of the story is that Dalek was a good episode, and you should probably listen to Big Finish.
Yes, and yes.
See, I don't know. I have this short story that I've been kicking around for the Sixth Doctor that I would love to write up at one of these days. But I know they don't take submissions. So it could be like, I want you to make this into an audio drama. And they'll be like, thanks, American. Don't let the door hit you when the door split you.
There's the short trips.
Yeah, but I think you have to, like, be known as, like, a Doctor Who fan fiction writer, and I'm nobody.
Oh, I think if they have the short trips, they accept all comers. But what you'd need to do is probably have some experience in writing for audio.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's a different setup.
Well, I wrote an audio drama once, a long time ago. Actually, I want to say this maybe like 2003 or 2004. And it was like a noir. And it had, it was about a female spy who she'd been a spy, but now she was just hiding and working as a head seamstress in her own, little like bridal shop. And so she had this assistant who was totally a seamstress, but she gets pulled into like, secret spy stuff. And it was called Hot Lead Kiss, because isn't that a great noir title?
It is.
But yeah, so someday, I also have a story kicking that would be I couldn't publish this anywhere because I couldn't make money off these terms, but it would just be good to have up under a pseudonym as a fanficker, but it would be set in the Doctor Who universe. So maybe someday when I'm writing again, we'll see.
That would be good. But
what should we watch? Yeah.
Next week, something from season 2, David Tennant. I'm suggesting a two-parter, actually.
Okay.
So, two-parters are
I'm like working 20 hours in my second job next week.
Yeah, but remember the two-parters is roughly the same as a four-parter from Classic Who.
Good point.
So, Impossible Planet, Satan Pit. That's my suggestion.
Alrighty. So if you're going to watch along with your favorite lesbians, it's like lesbian movie night.
Yeah. These two, it's basically like a takeoff of the Demons and a few other things on the Pyramids of Mars, and it even features the guy who played Sutek in the Tom Baker era playing the character who's basically the same.
That's pretty Sutek.
Yeah. It's the first part is really good. The second part has good sections, but it's mostly bad. But, I'll be interested to hear what you think about it.
All right. So now it's time for that part of the show that we couldn't get rid of even though we tried. And it's time for Giovanni's trivia question. And Giovanni, are you with us today?
Yeah, bless you, I am. How is everyone out there on Radio Land?
I'm not dead.
Well, that's certainly a positive, I guess. So anyway, I want to start off this week by giving much congratulations to my favorite mammal of the week, which is Oristella, who got the trivia question right. And the question was, what doctor was going to be in the clergy? And that was Tom Baker. He was actually training in the seminary to be a monk.
To be a monk.
God only knows why. Well, religion, I guess. God would alone know why. But so anyway, got a different question for you this week. No particular theme. I just was paging through my book of trivia, and I'm like, mammals. They're so weird and gross. So it's a mammal question for y'all mammals out there. Now, you know what an opossum? Those little white things with the really weird teeth and eyes and they go scribbling around in the darkness and hang upside down?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a female opossum has 13 of what? What does she have 13 of? So the way this works, be the first person when this goes up on Blip, tweet at the Omega Geek. And if you are the first person, you are my favorite. Now remember, no Google now. No Yahoo, no Alta Vista, no Bing or whatever you kids use these days. Honor system only. But so anyway, that's enough for me. I'm out of here. I will see all you cats and kittens next week.
See, now that we've put the trivia question at the end of the show, you're a lot nicer.
I'm sorry.
So that's been episode 65 of Lesbian Talk. Do want to let everyone know, however, that in about a month, things are going to get a little bit squirrely with me moving over to the UK, so we might have to put up another best of episode. But don't worry, it'll be awesome.
Yeah, because Omega will hopefully be, moving out here.
And it's going to be a little weird because I'm not taking my laptop. I'm going to buy a cheap one when I get over there because I'm going to put together a supercomputer, and it's complicated.
So if necessary, I'll be doing, the editor or putting it together or something.
Oh, dear God, it'll be nothing but pauses.
Yeah, I will probably not do any audio editing and just do the visual editing.
No. But anyway, for this week, I've been the Omega, and who would you want to have been this week?
Sutek.
I could deal with that. Sutek.